Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto and Aphrodite have a baby. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by verypoorunistudent and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Prologue. 4 years said a man with golden blonde hair silently to himself. The man checked himself at a mirror, showing a handsome young man with spiky golden blonde hair and long bangs framing his face. The man has sapphire blue eyes with 3 whisker-like birthmark on each of his cheeks. He was wearing a black shirt under his white sleeveless hoodie with jeans, his outfit doing nothing to hide his well-built body. It has been 4 years since Uzumaki Naruto had come to this world, this dimension, from his own. 4 years since he decided to live here. And now here he is, about to open his very own business, a flower shop. Naruto did not come into this world intentionally, it was because of an accident that he arrived here. After the 4th Great Ninja War, the entire world rejoiced and Naruto was hailed as a war hero. After everything Naruto has been through, he was tired, he wanted to rest, to live a peaceful life. Becoming Hokage was no longer his dream. So, after mourning the deaths during the war, he traveled and went to start anew. Naruto then unsealed Kurama from himself. Kurama gave him 1/4 of his chakra as thanks and as a memento, before leaving to also travel around the elemental nations. Naruto always remembered to train during his travels to at least maintain his current level of skill. During his fight against Kagaya, he and his team went through multiple dimensions. And the concept of other dimensions piqued his interest. So in his spare time he worked on a seal that could create rifts he could use to travel other dimensions. It was this curiosity that would cause him to be sent from one world to another. An incorrect formula to be more specific. Flashback 4 years ago. His surroundings, and he included, were warping into a single point, a scene similar to when Kakashi would use Kamui. Unlike most troubling situations he'd been in before, he knew well what was going on and what caused it. Just before he got pulled into the portal, just after the portal became unstable, time seemed to stop and his mind raced thinking of hundreds of things that might have caused him to be in his particular situation. In the end, he concluded that he must have made a mistake in the seal's formula and ended up getting sucked in the portal. He prepared himself of what would happen after going through the portal. Would he still be alive? Would he still have his limbs? Would he still have a sane mind? All of these thoughts were later gone as he felt himself crashing to the ground. "Ugh, my head hurts and I feel like throwing up," said Naruto as he looked around with a pained expression on his face to see where he was. It must be nighttime, he thought as he saw the ground illuminated by the moonshine. He checked his surroundings, the landscape, vegetation, weather to know just what kind of place he ended up in. He was in a forest that reminded him of the forest surrounding Konoha. It was nostalgic to say the least, it's been a while since he'd been there after all. Naruto then checked himself for any damages. After going through a series of tests he thought to himself, everything seems to be fine, I still have my chakra and the same level of control I did before coming here. Kurama's chakra is also still here. I also still have my sage mode. The power the old sage gave me is also okay. The pain I felt earlier is now gone. All in all, everything is fine. He was honestly surprised that he was relatively safe, but was still thanking his luck he ended up so. I guess I should also try if summoning also works. He thought to himself and with practiced ease, sped through hand signs, then pumped enough chakra to summon a small toad as he slammed his hand to the ground. A moment later, there was a small puff of smoke. Naruto raised an eyebrow as he saw that he summoned a tadpole. That's weird, but whatever, at least I know it works, said aloud to no one in particular. You can go now, little one, he said to the tadpole. It seems that I need to use more chakra to summon the toads. Summoning across dimensions is of course not without consequences, he thought to himself after he saw the tadpole disappear. I'm glad summoning still works, that means I can still visit the elemental nations. He decided to lie down, staring at the night sky and think of what he should in this world. It's time for me to stop traveling, it's been more than a year since I started. I should start living in one place and start a new life. He paused for a bit thinking, and what better place to start anew than another world. As he stood up, his lips were curved in a small smile, excited to know just what kind of life he'll lead here. Naruto then proceeded to start walking to get out of the forest. Kilometers away from the forest he could see lights in what he assumed to be a city. He proceeded to go towards the city and was shocked at what he saw. The city unlike anything he has seen before, there were a lot of lights and some in colors he never knew existed. There were buildings the size of Gamabunta, there were objects, which he assumed were vehicles, that moved almost as fast as a chunin. The streets were full of people walking, each. Naruto then created 7 clones and smiled looking at them. Well then, time to find out more about our new home. Flashback end. Over the years Naruto had taken multiple jobs at the same time, using shadow clones and henge to disguise the clones. Naruto had always taken a liking to gardening, even more when he became a sage. So he saved a lot of money to be able to open his own flower shop, which he named Whirlpool Flowers. "It's time to finally open my shop," he thought as he flipped a closed sign into an open sign. "Thank you for coming," he said to the final customer of the day and went towards the door and started to fix things up for closing time. Just before he reached the door, someone came in. "Oh my, were you about to close the shop?" He heard a feminine voice and turned to look towards the source. Naruto couldn't help but blush a little when he saw the woman. She had long red hair, and her eyes were a beautiful shade of purple, and the face of a goddess. She was wearing a form-fitting white shirt that shows off her perfect body and a short shorts that exposed her beautiful legs. She was beautiful, more beautiful than anyone he had seen before. It was as if she was beauty given a human form. Yes, but that could wait. Can't let a beautiful lady be disappointed, can I? Quite the smooth talker, aren't you? My name is Dite, what's yours, Mr. Handsome? She smiled and then looked around, and as she walked her hips were swaying seductively. Naruto Uzumaki, he replied to the last costumer of the day, while trying his best not to ogle at her rear. The two chatted idly as time flew by. "Dite, it's almost time for dinner, and since it seems you're not planning on buying any flowers yet, how about we go out and get something to eat?" he asked a bit nervously. It wasn't as if this was the first time he asked someone out, he's had a few girlfriends over the years. He was bit nervous because this would be the first time he's asking someone as beautiful as her. "I thought you would never ask." "I'd love to, and if you're lucky enough, you might get to eat something other than dinner." She smirked and made her way to the door, burning the image of the handsome blonde's embarrassed face into her mind. The two continued their chat on the way to the restaurant Dite suggested. The night continued for the pair as they continued to know more about each other. They talked about a lot of things, the other's history, flowers, and surprisingly Greek mythology. It seemed that Dite knew a lot about the subject. The blonde was interested in it since he himself had fought a goddess and a primordial before and was curious to know what kinds gods and goddesses existed here and wanted to learn more about them. "Thank you for a wonderful night," Dite said as they walked out of the restaurant. "The night is still young, Naruto," she replied in a suggestive voice. "Come on, let's go to your place," she added and dragged the blonde to their destination. Naruto woke up to see Dite beside him sleeping peacefully. He smiled as he remembered the night he spent together with his new girlfriend. "I'm still surprised she kept up with my stamina, 4 hours is no joke." He slowly made his way out of the bed, being extra careful not to wake her up. Dite woke up to the sound of something frying. She smelled a familiar scent, it was the smell of freshly cooked bacon. She got out of bed and walked towards the kitchen to find out who was cooking breakfast. The sight she came upon immediately made her heart flutter, it was Naruto cooking for her while humming a soft but happy tune. Naruto turned around and saw Dite had already waken up. "Good morning, how was your sleep?" he greeted her. "It was wonderful." Dite couldn't help but smile at the attention he was giving her, it made her really happy. "Great, you woke up just in time for breakfast." Naruto felt extremely happy at the moment, he was in his lover's house cooking breakfast for the both of them. He couldn't wait to spend more time with her, she was beautiful, playful, and fun to be with. Dite was thinking along the similar lines, she couldn't wait to get to know the blonde more. "There's something about him that makes him different from my previous mortal lovers." It wasn't exactly by chance that she met Naruto, she was deliberately looking for him. Flashback to yesterday. The love goddess Aphrodite was strolling through the city searching for someone as she needed a release. Then she felt something, it was someone's aura or their presence as some would call it. She immediately stopped what she was doing and started to investigate whose it was. After all, every living thing has one, though most are so negligible you would forget it exists, but this one was special. It wasn't every day that a goddess's attention would be grabbed by one. He or she is pretty close from here. She was surprised when she felt the source was inside a newly opened flower shop. She tried to get a better feel of it this time and she did. It felt a lot like an Olympian's, though in much smaller amounts, but different. It felt warm, peaceful, caring and loving. She opened the door and as she saw a blonde-haired man preparing to close up shop, she felt it once again, though this time much more clearly. Being the goddess of love, she could sense a person's love, and as she felt the man, she blushed. The man had so much love in him, more than she thought possible for a mortal. She could clearly feel the man extremely loved his friends, family, and country. She didn't feel his love for his girlfriend and smiled. This means he's currently single, jackpot. As she undressed the man with her eyes, she smirked and restarted her original goal. Flashback end. The lovers happily ate their breakfast, oblivious to the fact they would one day cause a great change in Olympus. This is the beginning of their romance. The story of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, lust, and beauty, and her immortal husband, Naruto Uzumaki, one of the most powerful beings in the universe. Chapter 1 end. It has been 8 months since Naruto and Date first met. They had been on many dates since then and had gotten very close to one another. Though there were topics that they were a bit uncomfortable with, like Naruto's past and Date's family. When she asked about his past, he just said that he was an orphan from a village in the east and traveled here in order to start a new life. When he asked about her family, she replied that they fought a lot, constantly bickering, mocking and annoying one another. It has been 2 weeks since he had last seen her and was starting to worry about what happened to her. She told him she was leaving for work and would be back in a couple of days. Even though this wasn't the first time she left for work, but this was the first time she didn't come back on the day she said she would. Meanwhile on Olympus, Aphrodite was getting a bit anxious. She was called into Olympus 2 weeks ago for something. She forgot what it was, she didn't care what it was about, since there was something that was currently of more importance than it. She was pregnant. She discovered it just a day before being called to Olympus. Currently, she was in her temple tending to her and Naruto's baby daughter. She was preparing to tell him about their daughter. She would deliver her baby daughter to Naruto alone, she had just convinced Hermes to do so. What a wonderful ability Charmspeak is. She would also have to tell him about the monsters coming for them due to their daughter's status. Camp Half-Blood was also something she would have to tell him. On one hand she was happy about finally having a child with Naruto. On the other hand she was scared and hurt. She was scared since she knew that when she would give her daughter to Naruto, that meant she would have to leave him. That thought hurt her, she loved Naruto, and she really did, more than any other human she had made a father of. Naruto had just finished eating dinner when he heard the doorbell rang. He smiled and sighed in relief, knowing it was Date on the other side of the door. I could recognize her perfume from a mile away. He then started walking towards the door. He smiled as he saw her as beautiful as ever, and the sight of her holding a baby made her look even more beautiful. "Wait, baby." He screamed inwardly upon seeing a baby with blonde hair and blue eyes that looked much like his own in her arms. Before he could make any thoughts on why she was holding a baby, Date interrupted him. "Naruto, dear, meet Nicole, our daughter," she said with love-filled words as a mom would to their daughter. Naruto's jaw dropped and eyes widened upon hearing what she said. But after a moment of thinking, he knew she didn't lie. Years as a ninja gave him the knowledge to tell if someone was lying, even though his skill were dull, he could still figure out if people were lying. He knew she was telling the truth, Date would never lie to her about something like this. He believed that the baby in front him was his, he could see their resemblance, his trademark golden blonde hair and ocean blue eyes, though she lacked his whisker marks, and she had Date's face. But most of all he could feel it, she was his daughter, he already felt a connection to her. Because of that he felt love for her. He slowly reached his hand to his daughter, wanting to hold her in his arms. And he did, he held her as gently as he could. "Hi sweetie, I'm Naruto, your dad," he whispered gently, and as he did, tears fell out of his eyes. He was a father, he has a family. The family he had always wanted as a child. The family he never had but now has. He was happy, beyond anything he has been before. He smiled upon see her daughter's tiny arms stretched and moving in random directions, and her eyes looking into his, while she was also smiling. Date teared up at the sight. Naruto, smiling. The most beautiful one she had seen, with tears in his eyes holding their daughter in his arms. He went inside the house, and without looking back, he spoke. "Come inside, Date, you have a lot of explaining to do." She nodded in understanding and prepared herself mentally for what was to come before entering the house. After properly laying his now sleeping daughter down on his bed, Naruto went towards the living room where Date was waiting and sat across her. "So, explain why I suddenly have a daughter," he said as he narrowed his eyes. Date took a deep breath before saying, "I am Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love," with complete seriousness. "Prove it." He felt a little sorry for sounding harsh, but it was needed. He didn't want to believe that he got involved with gods once again. She sighed and snapped her fingers. Immediately a bright light appeared over her head, it was pink and was shaped like a dove. She felt a little weird for having to claim herself just like how she would claim her demigod children. It was all Naruto needed to see before believing her. He just needed her to use some kind of power no matter how small. He was disappointed at himself. How could he not notice something different from her? He was a ninja for God's sake, not to mention one of the strongest to ever live, he should have noticed it, no matter how well hidden it was. His skills were now as sharp as a wall, great. Naruto let out a sigh and said, "Not again." "What do you mean?" "Well, I've also been keeping secrets from you." "Like what?" she replied, not liking the sound of this at all. "I am not from this dimension, I ended up here due to an accident when I was researching on dimension hopping." "How?" "Normal humans don't have the power to cross dimensions." "Ah, but you see, my dear, I am not exactly normal." He smiled softly as he walked towards her and held her hands before muttering an old jutsu he had learned after the war, Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique. The next thing Dite saw was a bright yellow flash, and as it faded, she noticed she was no longer in the living room, but was now in the guest bedroom of Naruto's house. Teleportation, she whispered in awe as she processed what her mortal lover had just done. Yep, he said in a small chuckle. How? Mortals aren't normally sup. Before she could finish her sentence she was suddenly interrupted. But you see, I am not exactly normal. In our world we have something called chakra in our body and we could use it in multiple ways, teleportation is one. My team and I fought against a goddess before I arrived here. She wanted to kill everyone, but we eventually succeeded. It was an experience I didn't want to go through again, so I decided to start a new and peaceful life. I was experimenting on dimension hopping when an accident happened and I ended up here, where I decided to start my life anew. I frowned but hugged him anyway. Why didn't you tell me before? She asked. Naruto hugged her back. I was going to tell you eventually. It's kind of hard to tell someone about this, he replied. True, she agreed, satisfied with his answer. Naruto, I have to leave by tomorrow morning. I can't raise our daughter, you know this, right? Naruto merely nodded his head. They've talked about this in the past, about how it's a very stupid law. He hugged her closer, sad that she was about to leave him very soon. Earlier when he found out she was a goddess and that they have a daughter, he connected the dots and was devastated. A part of him hoped that maybe she found a loophole, maybe she could stay. His hopes were crushed after hearing her words. When she is old enough, there is a camp where you could send her to, a camp for demigods, Camp Half-Blood. She could spend a summer there, where she gets to spend time with her siblings and fellow demigods. The place is protected so you don't have to worry about her being in danger there. That decision is not mine to make, I will let her decide for that herself. He replied. I guess you're right. Naruto, make tonight something special, she said as she pulled him into a deep kiss. That was amazing, Dite said while cuddling with Naruto after the best night they've ever had. Shadow clones are amazing, she giggled as she remembered the technique and how it was used in bed. Reality struck again when she remembered that she would have to leave soon, very soon. She snuggled closer to him hoping to find comfort in his warmth. She knew what he was feeling. His lover was leaving him and their daughter. You don't need to be a genius to figure out what he feels. Naruto, take good care of her. She said with tears welling in her eyes as she was slowly emitting a soft but bright light. I will, I already feel that she'll grow up to be an amazing woman, one that we would be very proud of. I love you, Naruto, don't ever forget that. I will always be watching over the two of you. She hugged him tightly, showing as much love as she could. Thank you, and I love you very much. He replied as he fought back his tears and hugged her closely, not wanting to let her go. And as his words ended, she was gone. Naruto made his way towards his bedroom, where his daughter was currently sleeping. His eyes were a bit red from shedding tears, but he was alright now. His eyes no longer held sorrow, instead, they were determined. He was determined to protect his daughter, he would have her live a happy life, and he would live on looking forward, the leaving of his lover not holding him back. I need to train. Chapter end. This place should do, Naruto said as he scanned the area. The area was similar to the training grounds back in Konoha and was pretty far from civilization. Naruto then marked a nearby tree with a Hiraishin seal before teleporting back to his house where he left Nicole with his clone. After sealing everything that was needed into a scroll, Naruto made a clone. He used enough chakra for the clone to last 2 weeks. Okay, you take care of the house and the shop while we're gone. He ordered the clone. He then took Nicole Flash to the spot he found earlier. Walking over to the edge of the clearing, he then stomped his foot and used earth nature chakra to raise a small slab of earth where he gently placed Nicole. Lokutan. Shichuken no Jutsu, wood style. 4-pillar house technique, said Naruto while forming the snake seal. Pillars of wood then rose out of the ground and slowly formed into a house. It was a day after being given a new arm made of Hashirama's cells that Naruto unlocked his wood release. Since the two of them were Asura's reincarnation and were distant relatives, the arm and Hashirama's cells were easily accepted by his body, unlocking his wood release. Naruto picked Nicole up and went inside the house. He rested her on a crib he made along with the house and then created a shadow clone that would look after her. He began writing a seal that would strengthen the house and create a protective barrier around it that only he and one with his permission to enter. The barrier could comfortably defend against his normal Rasen Shuriken, so he could focus on training, knowing that his daughter was safe. After creating the seal, he then started writing another one. A seal array that he had invented just before he found this place. It took him over a week to come up and complete it. This one would create an invisible barrier around the training area that would hide them from sight, hide their scent and cancels the noise. The barrier is also able to mask his power from outside even if he uses jutsus, so as long as it isn't anything as strong as or stronger than a Bijuodama, the seal should still keep him hidden. The barrier was created by 8 seals in total and needs 4 clones to power it through the day. He stared proudly at the now erected barrier, definitely one of his most complicated and finest works. Even the all-seeing god would have trouble finding this place. After applying the seals, he proceeded to the center of the training ground and created 1,400 clones. Split up into 7 groups of 200. Naruto ordered his clones. First group, work on your frog fukatas, second chakra control exercises, third wind element, fourth fire element, fifth lighting element, sixth water element, seventh earth element. Don't forget to read some scrolls. He finished ordering and started working on his own training, physical training. He needed to get back into shape or his body wouldn't be able to handle his stronger techniques when the time came to use them. Naruto went to bed feeling exhausted. It wasn't just his training that got him tired. After his training he looked after Nicole. He didn't know babies could cry so much. She cried because her dad was so smelly after his training. It took Naruto a good 5 minutes to figure that out. Not to mention crying due to dirty diapers and hunger, it drained him so much. But Naruto wouldn't exchange this time with his daughter for anything in the world. He would give his beloved daughter what he didn't have as a child. A family. He would protect her. For that he needed to be strong once more. 1 month later. Naruto created his usual 1,400 clones. He was proficient enough in the 5 basic affinities and it was time to up his training. Starting today his training would be composed of training in Mokuton, wood release, Yoten, lava release, Hiraishin, chakra control, and the 5 basic affinities. The abilities he had acquired when he was the Jinchuriki of all the tailed beast had stayed within him. He was gonna train in the other beast's ability later on in his training. 500 work on wood release. Naruto was a little biased to the Mokuton, seeing Hashirama's wood release firsthand in the war showed how powerful it could be. Before he left Konoha to travel, Yamato gave him a gift, the Mokuton scroll the first Hokage had left behind for the successor to his Mokuton. Naruto didn't know, at the time, that there would come a time where he will actually try to learn the more powerful techniques in the scroll. 300 for lava. 200 each for Hiraishin and chakra control. And the remaining split evenly into 5 and each continue working on one of the 5 basic affinities. He needed to work more on the Hiraishin. He wanted to create the seal at speeds which his father and the second could. He needs to be more experienced with Hiraishin. His body would sometimes lag trying to process the new surroundings, costing him milliseconds, which can be the difference between life and death. He also needed to work on his chakra control more. Currently the training involves creating Rasengans at his fingertips. His current goal was to be able to form a Rasen Shuriken one-handed in less than a second and be able to throw and guide it, all without Sage mode. Yes boss. The clones replied and started to train. He proceeded to create 5 more clones. We guys spar while in Sage mode, he said, and the clones nodded. 2 hours later. Naruto was lying on the ground exhausted. During his spars he always lost against his clones. He would be okay for the beginning of the spar where all of them are in Sage mode, but as the fight dragged on, he would lose his Sage mode and be unable to re-enter it once more. They wouldn't let him while they are able to continue fighting in Sage mode, since they can just regather natural energy while the other defends the one gathering. He decided to take a break to let his wounds heal. He would still continue since this spar gives him experience and reawakens his body's ninja instincts. Not only that, he also gains experience regarding natural energy. I need to be able to gather natural energy within a second or less, just like the first Hokage could, he told himself. Hours later. Okay, training's over, remember to dispel in small groups and in intervals. He shouted to his clones. Yes boss. The clones replied. After every clone was finished dispelling, he made his way back to the house. I can't train in any form higher than Sage mode, using Kurama's chakra may alert the gods, well my 6th-path Sage mode definitely would, and right now, I don't want their attention. He avoided using jutsus that used the elements around him, since the gods might notice him using their domains. He stuck with jutsus that used elements he had created, since technically the element is not in their domain because he created it himself. He was glad that the chakra Kurama left him with was self-sustaining, so even if he were to use up all of it, it would replenish itself if given time. Frankly, Naruto was surprised that the chakra wasn't given consciousness, though he could probably give it one with his Banbutsu Saozu, creation of all things, if he ever mastered the power the Sage of 6 Paths gave him. I still have a long way to go. He sighed to himself. Meanwhile in Aphrodite's temple. I finally found you. Aphrodite muttered under her breath. She was happy she finally found Naruto and Nicole. She has always watched over them, so when they suddenly disappeared 1 month ago, she was very worried. Though she had faith they were alive, she was still worried of what had happened to them. She looked for them whenever she could. Though, she could never find them until today. They were in a grassy plain near a forest. It was a place she had checked before. If she hadn't felt a small trace of power, she wouldn't notice that the area was actually encased in a barrier. She did not expect to find them there, a place kilometers away from the nearest town. Upon seeing the blonde, she was surprised, to say the least. In the clearing, there hundreds of him, clones she assumed, manipulating multiple elements, teleporting, reading scrolls and sparring. She didn't know he held this much power in him, but she was glad. She knew that with him, their daughter would be safe from harm. I have to hide them. Zeus wouldn't want to know about a mortal that wields this kind of power. Who knows what he might do to them. 14 months later. We're home. Naruto exclaimed as he teleported into his house in New York, where he lived for 4 years and opened his flower shop. He chuckled as Nicole squealed happily in his arms, influenced by his father's enthusiasm. He was finally finished with his training. It took him 15 months, but it was well worth it. He was satisfied with his current level of strength right now. He doesn't know how strong the enemies are that will be coming for his daughter, but he was sure, confident, that he could handle it. During the latter half of his 15-month training, he reduced the time his real body would be training, in exchange for spending more time with his adorable baby girl. He could have ended his training 7 months earlier, but he didn't. At that time, he was strong, probably strong enough to defeat most enemies. But something kept him from ending his training, his gut feeling. Call him paranoid or whatever, but he felt that he was going to fight more than just monsters. Trouble always found him, and he had to be strong enough to overcome it. So he continued to train. He then proceeded into his shop, preparing to open it to begin accepting customers, where he will most likely spend the day with Nicole. The shop was as clean and as ordered as he last remembered it to be, which was a few days ago. During his training he would send a single long-lasting clone every 2 weeks to take care of the shop. Page Bunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu, and with just a whisper, without his trademark hand seal, a single clone appeared few meters behind him. Naruto was now able to perform the jutsu without the hand seal. This was thanks to his much improved chakra control and the sheer number of times he's had to use the jutsu. His body knew how to mold his chakra for the jutsu as much as he knew the back of his hand. He made sure to create the clone when his daughter was not looking. He also made sure that his daughter would never see more than one of himself. Sure, she was still a baby and would probably forget about it if she saw 2 of her father when she grew up, but he wouldn't take the small chance that she might. The clone grunted at the job he was given. Chores are boring. He just had to be created to do house chores, damn it. A few hours later, Naruto sensed something akin to a monster heading straight towards his house. He could feel the malicious intent of it, and it angered him because it was not directed at him, it was towards his daughter. Show no mercy, he thought, and behind him a clone was created. The clone nodded and vanished in a shunshin to the monster. The clone appeared in front of the monster. It appeared to be a hellhound. He had read about them before. You don't mess with my family. The clone suddenly disappeared in a burst of speed and was now in front of the hellhound. Rasengan, the clone said, and instantly a blue spinning sphere of chakra formed in his right hand. He drove his hand towards the hellhound's head, and as soon as it made contact, it drilled through the head and continued until he stopped at the torso. The hellhound promptly disappeared in dust of gold. The clone stood still for a moment before an orange pigment appeared around his eyes, and his eyes changed color, while his pupils formed into a solid black bar. He sensed his surroundings, looking out for more enemies. Finding none, he eased out of sage mode and then dispelled himself. Retrieving his clone's memories, Naruto sighed in relief that the threat was dealt with. Looks like I have to put up the seals tonight. Chapter end. She could smell it, the irresistible scent of bacon frying. The smell was accompanied by an equally wonderful smell of fried rice and eggs. Her stomach grumbled lightly in response. Bacon and eggs and fried rice. What an amazing way to start the day. Ad, are you done yet? Not yet, a few more minutes. Naruto responded to the owner of the voice, his daughter Nicole. She had just changed into her clothes, a pink t-shirt with a Hello Kitty print on it and a pair of jeans, after taking her morning shower, and was waiting for her dad to finish cooking their breakfast while watching a morning cartoon on the TV. Nicole was 6 years old now. Her blonde hair was now reaching down to her shoulders. Her blue eyes full of excitement and energy mirrored by her constantly moving body. Her face was a little chubby, but you could see her features that will undoubtedly one day turn her into a beauty just like her mother. Time for breakfast, Nikki. Naruto called out to his daughter. Humming. She replied as she walked towards the dining area. Yummy. Shad yorm brukish RT best. Dad, your breakfasts are the best. She exclaimed while her cheeks were stuffed with food. Thank you, he chuckled, but didn't I tell you not to talk when your mouth is full? He asked her in a reminding tone. She replied with a series of nods. He looked at his daughter once again. She was much more similar to him than to her mother. He remembered when he was younger he didn't really have any table manners, and it seemed that Nicole inherited that trait, though in a lower degree. At least food wasn't falling out of her mouth. She also inherited his energetic and loud personality, though this was most likely a combination of him and her mother. Not to mention his love for pranks, he chuckled as he remembered the memory of his daughter using the classic whoopee cushion on her teacher, though when she got older, he should most likely teach her some of his more ingenious ones. She also inherited his love for ramen. When he first found this out, they went out for ramen for 3 straight nights. It was only for 3 nights since he didn't want his daughter getting used to eating unhealthy foods, ramen or not. Don't forget to brush your teeth after finishing your food. He reminded her as he put his empty plate and condiments by the kitchen sink. Okay. She replied once again with her mouth full. He sighed, thinking that it would take a while before his daughter would stop doing that. They decided to walk their way to school today since it was still pretty early and it was not that far. A good 20-minute walk in the morning after all is healthy for anyone. Hey dad, what are we going to watch tonight? Nicole asked her dad excitedly while holding his hand. Naruto had decided that every first Friday of the month they would watch a movie that Nicole had not yet seen. It was a father-daughter bonding night. Not that it was needed since Nicole already clung to him whenever she could, but it was good to have something like this, a set amount of time for each other that they both could look back and/or look forward to. That's a secret. He teased her, making her pout adorably. Dad, can we have some caramel popcorn for tonight? Sure, we'll go buy some after school. Yay. Thank you Dad. Nicole exclaimed happily. It wasn't long before the father and daughter arrived at their destination. We're here. Remember to behave in class and listen to your teacher. Yes, see you later Dad. I love you. Nicole said as she hugged her dad. I love you too Nikki, have fun and see you later. He replied as he kissed his daughter on the top of her head. A few hours later. Even though Nicole took after her father more, she was still a daughter of Aphrodite. She still liked to look pretty, though not to the degree of her other demigod siblings. When the situation calls for it, she doesn't mind looking a bit improper. Currently she was playing hide and seek with her friends since it was still their break. She was crouching behind a bush in the corner of the playground. Normally, they kids couldn't hide in that spot since a large rock occupies the space behind it, but today she found out that the rock wasn't there. Someone must have taken it out. She was lucky, the it would never expect her hiding there. It seems her dad's luck was rubbing off on her. Before she could start sneaking and steal the base, the bell rang, signifying the end of the break. She looked a little disappointed that they couldn't finish the game, but shrugged it off a bit later, thinking that she'll just win next time. With Naruto. I wonder how my clones are doing with their training, today is a pretty boring day. Not much customers coming around. He thought to himself. Ever since he finished his training camp, what he affectionately calls his 15-month training period when Nicole was just a baby, he never really trained hard, he never slacked on training though, he made sure that at least once a week, he would send around 20 clones to a faraway place where they could train. Deciding that today would just be boring, he made a clone to stand in for him at the shop before going inside the house. I'm going to work on the seal today. He took out a large scroll, placed it on the floor. As he unsealed the contents of the scroll, what appeared were just a bunch of empty papers and scrolls. The seal he was working on was the very same seal that brought him here, a seal that allows him to traverse dimension. The seal was still incomplete even years after its conception. Though he knew he wouldn't need this seal to go back to the elemental nations, since he could just use the toad summoning, he wanted this seal complete. He doesn't like the thought of leaving a creation of his as incomplete. If he was going to do something, he was going to see it through until the end. So he used some of his free time to work on the seal. His progress could be considered slow, but he didn't mind it, he would take his time with the seal. He was extra careful now because of the incident last time. He can't have something like that happening again. His daughter was here and he wouldn't leave her for anything in the world. A few hours later. It's time to pick my baby girl up. Naruto said after looking at his wristwatch. It wasn't long before he arrived at Nicole's school since he drove his car this time. He stepped out of the car and started to head towards the playground. He knew she would be there playing with her friends that were also waiting for their parents to pick him up. Nikki. Time to head home. He called out upon finding her. Daddy. She ran towards her dad before wrapping her arms around his leg. Her dad was pretty tall, so her height reached to just above his knee. Say goodbye to your friends. We still have to buy some popcorn for later, he said as he ruffled her hair. Okay. She replied before running off to her friends. Currently the Naruto and Nicole were arguing inside the supermarket. Nicole was persuading her dad to buy more bags of popcorn. Naruto already took 2 bags of popcorn and deemed it enough, and any more would be too much. Come on dad, please. No. Please. No. Please please please. No. Please. No. You're still young, you can't eat that much popcorn. No dad, I'm a big girl now. I can handle 3 bags of popcorn. My answer is still no, besides won't that much popcorn make you fat? Nicole hesitated before speaking up once again. I promise I'll exercise so I can avoid that. Naruto thought about it for a few seconds before replying. Alright, we'll get more, we'll even get some candies. Yay. She exclaimed. But only if you promise to help me with chores for the whole week. You can do that, right? After all, you're a big girl now. He replied with a grin. Naruto knew that he was spoiling her a bit, so this had to be done. He had to teach her that if you want something you have to work for it. Yay. Thank you, Daddy. You're the best. She exclaimed while she was carefully choosing what candies to pick. And I promise that I will help you with chores for the whole week. And in Uzumaki never breaks their promises. Keeping promises was another thing that she had learned from her dad. Every time her dad promised something he would always uphold it. That was one of the things she admired from her father. Naruto smiled at her before hugging her. Well said, beloved daughter of mine. But Aphrodite. I wonder how Naruto and Nicole are doing. It has been quite a while since I've checked up on them. She made sure that no one was in her temple or in the immediate vicinity of it. She believed that the less gods that know about Naruto the better. If Ares found out that she was pining over the same mortal for over 6 years now, he would undoubtedly find and kill Naruto. Currently, only 2 other immortal know of Naruto's existence, Hestia and Eros. She knew she could trust Hestia, she was her best friend on Olympus. Even though they don't have many similarities, they got along since Hestia was very kind and sweet. As the goddess of home and family, Hestia would never do anything that would endanger Naruto and Nicole, a family. And Eros was the god of love, her son, her male counterpart. She wouldn't be able to hide her love for Naruto from Eros, since as a god of love, he would instantly know. So she talked to him, told him not to reveal anything about Naruto to Ares. He agreed without hesitation. He felt his mother's love for the mortal and was glad that she found someone she could love so much. Also maybe Apollo knew, she wasn't sure. She hopes he doesn't, but if he does, she's glad he hasn't blurted it out to everyone. Ever since she left Naruto, she hadn't slept with anyone. She just couldn't, it felt wrong to her. Even though she and Naruto will probably never meet again, the thought of making love with a different man disgusted her. Yes, she who believed that love should be free and not tied down, was disgusted at the thought of making love with a man other than Naruto. It was ironic to say the least. But she just could not bring herself to sleep with another. She knew that if she did it, it would be betraying his love for her, and it would hurt him, and she couldn't allow that because of the simple truth that she loved him. When she first realized this, she wondered just how much she had changed from falling in love with a whiskered blonde. She conjured a screen showing both Naruto and Nicole before she made herself comfortable by sitting down. Now let's see what they're up to. With Naruto. That was the greatest movie ever. Nicole exclaimed as she jumped from the sofa due to excitement. Naruto simply chuckled. Was it? Yeah. The turtles were so cool, and Dory is the funniest fish ever. And Nemo is the cutest. That's great, sweetie. I prepared you some milk and cookies, do you want some? He said with smile. Cookies? The two sat together eating cookies as they talked about the movie they just watched. Naruto was enjoying the night until Nicole asked a question that put him in an uncomfortable position. Dad, can I have a baby sister? She asked innocently as she dunked a cookie into her glass of milk. Immediately Naruto's mind ran through hundreds of excuses he could use. He didn't want to give her the talk this early in her life. What made you suddenly want to have a baby sister, Nikki? He was trying to buy time as he was still thinking of an excuse. My classmate told me that she has a new baby sister and that babies are the cutest thing in the world. Well, I think my baby girl is the cutest thing in the world. He said in a matter-of-fact tone. He was still buying time. I'm sorry, Nikki, but you can't have a baby sister. He continued. He finally thought of one. He didn't want to use it since it was a bit of a low blow, but he had no choice. Why? Because I can't give you a little sister alone, only your mother and I can give you that. Naruto winced at having to use the no mother card, but he really had no choice. He knew she would immediately drop the subject if he used that card since Nicole wasn't the #1 fan of her mother. Oh. She immediately looked crestfallen at the mention of her mother. Every time her dad would talk about her mom he would look a little sad and she didn't like it. She still couldn't understand how her mom could leave her dad was the best. Maybe her mom didn't like her. She shook her head in an effort to take those thoughts away. Her dad always said that her mom loves her. Seeing his daughter's face he knew he had to take off that frown. Hey, don't look so down, you've got the best dad in the whole world right here. He said with grin, pointing to himself. Yep. I do, love you daddy. She replied with a grin. But Aphrodite. Naruto is such a great father. She sighed dreamily. Naruto was a loving father that raised Nicole up very well. She remembered the times she saw him spending time with their daughter. Watching movies, watching over the shop together, playing games and shopping. And every time she wished she could be there to spend time with them. She wanted to be with them, to be a real family. Then she remembered her daughter's reaction when she was mentioned. It hurt her to see her like that. It hurt her that the mention of her would bring sadness to her own daughter. And what hurt her the most was that she could do nothing about it. A baby sister, she thought about what her daughter said earlier. A baby sister, another daughter with Naruto. She didn't mind it, in fact she wanted it. Her family would be bigger, Nicole would have a younger sibling which she would surely grow close to. She imagined it, Nicole fixing her younger sister's hair, or Nicole bickering with her younger brother, she could see it happening. Just the thought of it warms her heart. It would also be a chance to spend another night with Naruto. Oh how she missed him. The way he would hold her like she was the most precious thing in the world, his smile that shines so bright, that feeling when she returns to his house after a stressful day at Olympus that would calm her down and warm her heart, she missed it all. She wanted to feel it all once more, even for just one night. She was thinking about it, what may or may not happen if she did it. And no matter what angle she looked at it, the pros outweigh the cons. Sure, maybe Ares may be able to find out about Naruto, but that was something she could prevent with some preparations. What's the worst that could happen if she visits him once more and have another child him? Zeus did it a few years ago with his lover Ms. Grace. Why didn't she think of this earlier, damn it. And with that, she made up her mind. Chapter end. To say Naruto was surprised would be like saying Jiraiya was a pervert. He had just finished putting his daughter to sleep when he heard the doorbell ring. He went towards the door expecting some Jehovah's Witness guy, since they've been quite common recently. But he saw someone he thought he would never see again. Aphrodite. Naruto blinked 3 times to see if the figure in front him would disappear. It didn't. He rubbed his eyes to make sure his mind wasn't playing tricks on him, and when he opened his eyes again, the woman was still in front of him. He closed his eyes forcefully once again and bit on his tongue with some force to see if he would wake up from this dream. And when he opened his eyes once again, she was still there. He took a deep breath, and as he did he tried to sense if this was just some sort of genjutsu. It wasn't. He tried to sense anything from her, and all he felt was the presence of his old lover, Aphrodite, the mother of his daughter. Everything he tried all pointed to the same thing, she's real. Slowly acknowledging that fact, he examined her closely. He studied her face, she didn't change one bit. He even sniffed the air, curious to know what her scent was. She's using the perfume I got her years ago. Then he ran towards her, engulfing her in a hug. He didn't bother to know what her reply was. He didn't need to. She was real and he was holding her in his arms just as he did years ago. I've missed you so much, Naruto. She said. The sound was a bit muffled since her face was so close to him. Naruto would know that voice anywhere, anytime. Her sweet melodic voice didn't change, it was exactly as he remembered it. At the moment, Aphrodite was taking in everything, his scent, his face, his clothes, his warmth, his heartbeat, the way the moonlight makes him even more charming, the sound of a busy street a few blocks away, the different scents of flower coming from the shop. She was burning everything into her mind. For years she has longed for this moment, to be with him again. When she was just planning her preparations weeks ago, she couldn't help to look forward to this moment. Because of her preparations, she could relax right now. She wouldn't have to worry about Ares, he was also here on Earth. She and Eros made sure of this, disguised as a mortal, busy releasing sexual frustrations from not being able to have sex with the goddess of love. Zeus wasn't also in the know since he was currently under Hera's wrath for cheating on her again with a nymph. She was the cause of it this time. The goddess of lust increased the king's libido if that was even possible, since she needed Hera to take his attention tonight. She also didn't have to worry about Apollo spying, since it was currently nighttime and Artemis wouldn't ever bother with her. Tonight, she was alone with Naruto. I've missed you too. He replied. Immediately, Aphrodite smacked her lips on his. A kiss they had shared so many times before. It was amazing, their desire for more increasing as each second passed by. But before they got too far, Naruto broke the kiss. He knew he had to stop, there was a reason why Aphrodite appeared in front of him after years, and he had to find out what it was. More than likely, it concerns their daughter. So, why are you here? He hoped it didn't sound too cold, but he had to be direct. Well, actually. Nikki. A toddler exclaimed while she reached out her tiny arms in front of her, signifying that she wants the older girl in front of her to lift her up. It's great to see you too, Lacey. Nicole chuckled as she did what her baby sister wanted, lift her up for a hug. Lacey was 2 years old now. Lacey arrived weeks after her dad told her that she couldn't have a baby sister. Nicole couldn't help but fall in love when she saw Lacey. Her baby sister was the cutest baby in the world, blonde hair just like hers and their dad, her baby fat making her look even more adorable, and her eyes were a shade of blue similar to their dad's, which could only be a plus in the daddy's girls books. It had been 2 years since then, and every day of those 2 years Nicole would smother her sister with love. There were times when she changed her diapers since her dad was busy and he trusted her enough to let her do so. She was there when Lacey spoke her first word, which were unsurprisingly daddy. She was there when Lacey took her first steps. Both her and her dad really loved Lacey. Unlike her dad when he was her age, Nicole was quite smart. Though, this was most likely because she had a family who raised her unlike her father. 2 years ago. A few minutes after her baby sister arrived, she wondered, didn't daddy say that he needed mom present to give me a baby sister? That means she's here. Happiness were slowly building up within her, she would finally meet her mother for the first time. Immediately she ran, maybe she's hiding as a surprise she thought. She checked her dad's room, not here. Then her dad's closet, not here also. Then the flower shop, not the place either. She checked every hiding spot in the house, her mother wasn't in any of them. Maybe she went outside for a bit. At this point a part of her already knew her mother wasn't here anymore, she left, again. But a part of her still hoped, still believed that she was here. After all, her dad always told her that her mom loves her, a loving mother would at least show herself to her child, wouldn't she? So she waited and waited and waited and waited. It wasn't until her dad told her that it was getting late that she stopped waiting. As they made their way into her bedroom she stopped, making her dad do the same. "Dad, can I sleep beside you tonight?" she asked with her voice trembling. She looking at the floor so her dad wouldn't be able to see her face that was about to fail and stopping her tears. "Anytime, sweetie," he said in soft and gentle tone, hoping it comforts her daughter even if by a bit. Naruto lifted up his daughter, he let her head rest in crook of his neck and rubbed her back softly in an effort to slowly calm her down. And as hugged her dad close, she could no longer restrain herself and began crying. "Mommy hates me," she exclaimed while her tears fell. Naruto after hearing his daughter's words immediately tried to remember the last time they spoke about Aphrodite. "Weeks ago when I told her mom needed to be present when OO should." Everything suddenly clicked, the reason she suddenly went around the house running earlier and why she was diligently waiting for something in the living room, it all made sense now. Then his heart broke, he could do nothing but try to calm her down through words and by holding her close. His words were without weight at this point. He knew Aphrodite loved Nicole very much, but he could only tell his daughter that, he couldn't show her any proof. At this moment he wanted to beat the hell out of whoever was causing his daughter to cry, but he refrained himself, didn't want Olympus to fall into chaos without its king after all. "Don't say that. Your mother loves you a lot." This was the first time that Nicole did not believe her father's words. "No, she doesn't." Her tears not stopping. "She loves you very much, actually, the reason she gave us Lacey was because she knew you wanted a little sister." Lies. How would she know I wanted a little sister? We've never even met. Her own words hurt her even more. She was surprised that she shouted at her dad. Normally, she would never even think of doing that, but the current subject really was taking its toll on her. "That's because she's your mother. Of course she would know what her daughter would want." His words seemed to have had some effect since it took her some time to reply. "For the longest time, all I've ever wanted was to meet her, and she couldn't give me that. What kind of mother doesn't want to meet her own daughter? She wants to, sweetie, very much, she just can't." His words were faltering, seeing his daughter in so much pain was bringing him so much sorrow. "Come on sweetheart, let's sleep, you'll feel better tomorrow." He gave up on the matter for now, knowing his daughter would continue to be stubborn about it. It was a long night for Naruto. His youngest daughter was unusually quiet for a baby while he continued to soothe his eldest. Naruto knew how painful it was to feel that your parents do not love you, he was an orphan after all. He continued to be there for his daughter, making sure to let her feel his love for her, the love of a father, he made sure that his daughter would never feel alone. But Aphrodite. She went back to her temple after dropping Lacey to Naruto. She was in a good mood and was planning to spend the rest of the night watching over her daughters and Naruto and their first night with a new family member. She expected to see Nicole getting all excited about her baby sister. But the plasma screen she conjured showed that Nicole was in the living room, it seemed as if she was waiting diligently for something. "Mommy hates me." Once she heard that, Aphrodite's heart shattered into little pieces. No, don't say that. That one sentence hurt her so much. She loved her daughter very much, but she could not even tell that to her. It hurt her not being able to do so. But what really hurt the most was that she made her daughter feel that way, unloved. She, the goddess of love, made her daughter feel unloved, it was pathetic. She had failed as a mother. Knowing that she made her daughter feel that way stung her heart and she could do nothing about it. She could only watch as her daughter let out her pains one by one. By the time Nicole was asleep, Aphrodite's eyes were red from crying and she became tired. She could feel herself slowly succumbing to sleep, but before she did, her mind was clear and determined. "At the next meeting I'll do everything I can to get rid of that stupid law and I won't stop until that law is abolished. Just wait, Nikki, mommy will come see you." 2 years later, current time. Since the event 2 years ago, Nicole had given up on hoping that her mother would ever return. She's also changed since then. A part of her is still the same active prank-loving girl she was 2 years ago, but now she's matured into a dependable and strong girl. There's still resentment she harbors towards her mother for leaving her whole family behind, but she doesn't let it get to her. She's matured into a fine young woman who won't let her emotions get the best of her. Nikki, let's play. Sure. What do you want to play? House. Lacey. It's time to pick up Nikki at school. Naruto called out to his daughter. He headed towards Nicole and Lacey's bedroom where he knew the latter was playing. He was about to call her again before he stopped himself. His youngest was sleeping in her bed. He silently made his way to her bed where he set his daughter to a more comfortable sleeping position and then tucked her blanket in, making sure she won't get cold. He drove faster than usual to his destination. Earlier, when he dropped Nicole off at her classroom, they were greeted by a woman. The woman introduced herself as Ms. Curry, a substitute teacher. She said that the original was out for the week due to a cold. When the substitute teacher first saw Nicole, he could have sworn that the woman's eyes sparkled in an unpleasant light. Needless to say, that woman was suspicious. So Naruto, being the word of a parent he is, left the house early to pick up his daughter. Naruto was getting itchier by the minute. The traffic was unusually heavy, and every traffic light he's encountered were red. The bad luck was only making him worry about his daughter. Oftentimes, bad luck is a sign of some sort. That something bad is going to happen. Upon arrival at the school he immediately went to the playground where his daughter would always be waiting for him. But his daughter was not there. He tried asking her classmates of her location. Ms. Curry told her to come with her after school. He thanked the kid and then gave her a Kit Kat. This is definitely suspicious. He closed his eyes then took a deep breath. Taking in nature, he entered sage mode and immediately began searching for his daughter's presence. He was not happy when he found his daughter. He could feel his daughter's fear. She was in danger. He used the Hurration immediately, teleporting to the room his daughter was currently in. Naruto's eyes narrowed as his brain processed what he was currently seeing. A woman, who he assumed to be Ms. Turner, with fiery hair and red eyes in front of his terrified daughter. He went out of sage mode, knowing he could handle this situation without it. He then grabbed Nicole's wrists and teleported a few meters away from the monster. Dad. Nicole hugged her dad, relieved to see him. You. How did you do that? Ms. Turner growled. She was about to feast when her meal's father suddenly appeared in a yellow flash, a feat no mortal should be capable of. Everything's going to be alright Nikki, I promise. He consoled his terrified daughter and kissed her forehead. Hey Nikki, do you want to see your dad do something cool? He added, paying no mind to the monster before him. Nicole nodded her head slowly, she was slowly calming down, her dad making her feel safe. Her fear slowly fading, her dad wasn't afraid of the vampire teacher, and that assured her, her dad would definitely beat the bad guy. By this time the impulsa was really mad, a human brushes her off as if she was an insect. A fool he must be, and that arrogance would be his downfall. Ms. Turner dashed towards the man, the obstacle to her meal, baring her fangs in preparation for drinking the man's blood. Nikki, watch closely. His earlier worries were gone now that he is by his daughter's side, confident no harm will fall upon her on his watch. He took this chance to finally let his daughter know her true heritage, a demigod and a ninja. He wasn't planning on telling her until she was 12, but he no longer had a choice. Her scent is growing stronger and according to Aphrodite, it will only continue to grow when she learns about the truth. He would have to train her to defend herself in the near future, he can't always be there after all. Okay. Her dad's nonchalant behavior was making her forget what was about to happen earlier, before her dad showed up. Naruto then disappeared in a flicker, appearing in front of Ms. Turner with his right arm cocked back. He delivered powerful punch right in the enemy's jaw, making her fly to the wall. But right before she could the sensation of hitting the wall, Ms. Turner felt another fist in her face sending her backwards. Naruto then disappeared once more, only to appear behind her, delivering a sharp kick to her spine that sent her flying to the ceiling. Nicole was gobsmacked as she saw her dad fight Ms. Turner. Her dad was pulling off moves she'd only seen on TV. But nothing was more surprising when she saw her dad in the air, waiting for Ms. Turner with a spinning and glowing blue orb in his right hand. Naruto then drilled the Rasengan on Ms. Turner's stomach, sending her to the ground with force enough to destroy the floor and a dust cloud form, hiding her body, not that he would see her body as gold dust were coming out of the cloud. So is your dad cool or what? Naruto asked playfully as he walked towards Nicole. That was amazing. Nicole exclaimed. But how did you do that and why? Nicole was interrupted by her dad. I'll tell you all about it when we get home. Naruto then grabbed her hand and made their way back to the car. What if Naruto and Aphrodite have a baby? End here and thanks for watching my video till the end.